Hi Virgo, welcome to your love reading for this week. As always, this is a general reading, so take what resonates and leave the rest. Okay, let's go ahead and see what is coming up for you, Virgo. So we have the Four of Pentacles, Nine of Pentacles, Page of Pentacles, Judgment, the Devil, the Hierophant, the Moon, Ten of Cups, and Ten of Wands. Okay, so I'm going to start off with couples, and then I will move on to singles. So the heart of your reading is the Devil. So again, very intense card. And I feel like this week, I feel like they really kind of want you examining your relationships, especially seeing what's going on here. Basically, what I just said, examine your relationships, is pretty much written here in tarot language. The Page of Pentacles represents kind of carefully studying something, reading the fine print, looking at all the details. And the Moon means that your fears are involved, or there's something you don't know. With the Devil, you know, right as the heart of the reading, I feel like for some of you, and this has come up already for another sign, I feel like they want you examining your relationships very carefully, whether you're dating or married. I feel like there's some type of like negative energy in the relationship. It can even be like jealousy. It's one thing that comes up for me. Insecurities. I feel like there could be one partner that has some not so positive qualities, such as, addictions. Is some of this rubbing off on you? This could even be, unhealthy relationships, and it could be something, this is what they want you looking at, examining. It could be something that you don't want to see. You don't want to face the truth here. Okay, but let's go ahead and start at the top. And so the first card is the Four of Pentacles. So for some of you, when I first saw these cards, the first thing that came to mind, and this already, came up for another sign, is that for some of you, you might be focusing more on the material. You might be focusing more on your career and money, and you don't kind of like see what's going on in your relationships. And clearly, you need to see what's going on in your relationships or your marriages this week. Like, you have to look at these things. But I feel like somebody is just kind of like counting their money, and they're kind of like, yeah, like I'm doing really, really well, because the Four of Pentacles is a money card. And in this particular deck, we see the guy kind of holding, all of his pentacles, which to me, they look a lot like money. I kind of feel like somebody holding money and being like very content about this. I feel like somebody's focusing too much on material things. I even kind of get that for some of you, it might even be appearances, like looking good to other people, but like what's really going on inside of you and your partner, like what's really going on with the relationship. It could even be that, for some of you, I'm seeing what's going on here is that, the Four of Pentacles also means that you're holding on to something really tight, and of course this would be an unhealthy relationship. And then the Ten of Wands means that you're just kind of burned out and just exhausted. There's so much baggage coming along with this. So I feel like carefully, like, look at your relationships, especially those of you who are just kind of dating or engaged. Is there something unhealthy about your partner or you, or just kind of being together? I feel like something is off. Something that will be kind of revealed to you this week. But again, like I said, I feel like somebody's focusing too much on money or their career. And then there's the Nine of Pentacles. I even kind of feel, the Nine of Pentacles is, it's kind of a card of doing your own thing. It is a card of abundance, and somebody is kind of very independent, and you don't really feel that you need other people. I even kind of feel like somebody is in a relationship. I feel like somebody is in a relationship or in a marriage and you're not really connecting. And it could be that that is the negative energy from the devil. Like you're just kind of off doing your own thing, maybe making money or being very successful. And, what about your partner? Like, what does that say about your relationship or your marriage? And that's why the Page of Pentacles is here. This is kind of saying, open your eyes and look at all the details. This can be someone, obviously you are an earth sign, Virgo. But the Page of Pentacles, to me it represents like really examining something very carefully to see what you are missing. And considering, the cards in this reading, I kind of feel like something is a little bit off, like something unhealthy. Now, moving on to the next row, there is Judgment, the Devil, the Hierophant. Like I said, the Devil is the heart of the reading, and they're kind of, a negative energy or some type of addiction, something like that. Is going on. But Judgment, you have two extremely positive cards on either side of this. And Judgment is basically telling you that you don't have to settle for this energy of the devil. This is something that can either be fixed or you can begin again, perhaps for, with a different partner. It's funny because, we have the devil, which is, obviously very kind of negative energy is around you and your relationships. I feel there's a lot of guidance here. This could be from your spirit guides, from your angels. They're telling you that it's time for you to kind of like wake up and kind of snap out of whatever it is, you have been kind of living in, because I feel like there's been like an illusion here with the moon. So I feel like there's a lot of guidance coming your way, and if you don't know what could possibly be negative about your relationship, I feel like some light will definitely be shed on that. There will be very kind of crystal clear messages and synchronicities, even kind of dreams. I feel like you will know like what it is that needs to be worked on, or if a relationship needs to be let go of. It's something that's just kind of extremely negative and just not for your highest good. I also feel, with the Hierophant, to me this card, it represents sometimes being with people that you really feel drawn to, kindred spirits, like-minded individuals. So I feel like for some of you, you may be kind of moving on to someone that is much more like you, someone that you feel really positive around, especially if you're kind of feeling like something's off with your partner here, or they're leading you towards a path where there's something unhealthy, something negative. There will be like, I feel like this might also be like a wake-up call. Okay, so moving on to this row here, the Moon, the Ten of Cups, the Ten of Wands. So the Moon can sometimes represent fears. It could be that, a relationship has been a certain way for quite some time, and you really don't want to let that go, even if there is something unhealthy. Maybe you don't want to see it, because the moon sometimes, it means that either someone is lying to us, or, but I feel like this is like the truth, like being revealed about where you really need to be, or something unhealthy either within you or your partner that is just not making the relationship work. I kind of feel also that someone is just like exhausted, and the Ten of Wands, it does represent kind of, you know, really kind of low energy, dense energy, almost like the devil. Looking at what's going on here, I forgot I've already mentioned this, I don't remember, because when I do these readings, I am kind of channeling, but in a different way. I feel like someone may not see that the negative influence is perhaps that there's too much focus on material things, on money. It might not even be you, it could be your partner. They're focusing too much on their career and money, and somebody is just kind of really like fed up, like, are we having a relationship or a marriage or what? And this could be something that is brought to the surface this week. I feel like, you know, a family, they're talking about a family here with this card, because this is a card associated with marriage and children and happiness. And I feel like they're trying to lead you that way. They're trying to lead you that way towards happiness and a healthy relationship. But I feel like there's something you don't know, and there's someone that's just like really kind of like overloaded with, I don't know, I feel like emotions, things that maybe your partner is not sharing with you, or you're not sharing with them, or somebody is just trying to do way too much, and it's kind of creating a very strong burden on the relationship. Let me see if anything else jumps out at me. I'm kind of seeing what's going on here. Like I said, the Nine of Pentacles, it represents success and abundance. It represents kind of acquiring everything that you want, material things. And then this card is more family oriented. And of course we have the Devil right in the middle, and sometimes also too much focus on material things. And I feel like for some of you, that is what is happening. It's funny because this also just came up for another sign. So yeah, I feel like somebody is just kind of like doing their own thing. I don't know, you know, those of you who are single or married, it can go either way. Someone is just kind of doing their own thing as far as their career and making money. Not so positive, not when you're supposed to be having a spiritual union, a spiritual relationship or marriage. I feel like you know, happiness, your happiness is at stake here. Even if this is not the partner for you, even if you're the one watching this reading and you feel like, you know, oh, like something's off with this relationship, we're dating, but something's off, then you might want to be honest with that partner. I feel like, you know, this might be your future relationship. For those of you that are just kind of single, this might be your future marriage that's at stake here, or, you know, that person, the person that you're dating, I feel like somebody has to be honest. There's a lot of things going on in this reading. Let me go ahead and move on for to singles. Okay, now for those of you who are single, you know, the Devil, I feel like the focus would be on keeping an eye open for, you know, as far as unhealthy energies, especially getting kind of negative thinking for those of you who are single, especially, you know, that kind of feeling that you get that you're not going to meet someone ever, that you're not going to find the right partner for you, that you're never going to get married. I feel like for some of you there, that energy might be present. But again, you know, just like I told the couples, there is a strong spiritual energy as well. Let's go ahead and start at the top. The Four of Pentacles. For you, for those of you who are single, I kind of feel again, you know, I just keep getting that message. I feel like for some of you, like you're holding on to your career. Usually people who are Virgos are very career oriented, and you really kind of get ahead in life because you're very devoted. And I feel like somebody is very kind of devoted to their career or making money. And I feel like you feel safe with this, because Virgo is usually not a sign that opens up easily emotionally. So I feel like you're kind of like clinging to maybe like your career, or kind of, that I need to make more money. And, the Nine of Pentacles is kind of a loner card, almost like the Hermit. It can represent, you kind of choosing to stay single because you feel that I need to make money, I need to better myself, I need to go to school, whatever that means. So I feel like somebody's kind of holding on to that, to the idea of I need to do this, I need to do that to make money or to work on my business. And you're really feeling like you don't really kind of need another person. With the Nine of Pentacles, that is an energy, like I said, it's a very kind of loner energy. Or it's a card of just feeling like, you're very self-confident in yourself, and your ability to produce abundance, and maybe even make yourself happy. But I feel like they're asking you to examine this week, because you have the Page of Pentacles, and to me the Page of Pentacles represents looking at things very carefully. So I feel like something will kind of be, I feel like for some of you will have like an epiphany of like, I need to stop like, clinging to money or my career, and it's time to focus on finding a life partner or being in a relationship. Okay, so moving on to the second row here, you have the Judgment card, the Devil, and the Hierophant. So of course the Devil is the heart of the reading, and like I said, it represents negative energy. It could represent negative thinking, unhealthy relationships. But for those of you who are single, it's like you're being given an opportunity to start over. With the Judgment card, it always represents, basically a new life, especially for those of you who, you feel like you've been in a dark place, or you just feel like life has just kind of dealt you a really bad hand when it comes to relationships. It means that there's an opportunity for success. And since this is a love reading, this means that there is an opportunity for love around you this week. That's why there's this giant message up here about don't focus too much on, career or money, getting ahead. It doesn't mean you have to ignore all of that, but I feel like there is an opportunity there that they want you to see. There's an opportunity for you to be happy, especially for those of you that are kind of like, in a negative place where you're just kind of really like pessimistic about relationships or love. Maybe something has gone really wrong for you in the past, and so now when it comes to relationships, you're just kind of like, no, that's not going to happen for me. I feel like they want you to try to get past this week, because there's an opportunity for you to have a significant relationship, a second chance to be happy. And even if, there is this energy here of being pessimistic, or maybe kind of dwelling in negative thinking, I know sometimes it's hard to kind of deprogram yourself. There is going to be a lot of guidance, just like I told the couples. With the Hierophant, there's going to be a lot of messages for you to act, to make decisions. Maybe, there's a partner that you're meant to meet. There's going to be a lot of guidance as far as where you need to go, what you need to do. I also feel, with the Hierophant that for some of you, those of you who are single, I'm getting the message that some of you may be highly drawn to spirituality this week. You might be watching more readings than you usually do. Some of you might be watching astrology. And I feel like some of this is like you are deprogramming yourself. You're really kind of focusing on finding happiness. I feel like some of you will really kind of be sensing that there is in the possibility of a significant relationship or love around you. I feel like some of you will really be turning to spirit to get out of this funk here, or maybe you just kind of given up, or you're not in a good place when it comes to trusting other people. So moving on to this row here, the Moon, 10 of Cups, and 10 of Wands. So the Moon, you know, like I said, this could represent your fears. I mean, it definitely makes sense seeing what's going on here. Just like I told you, couples, you know, this is a major arcana, and it's kind of so-called kind of lined up here with, you know, a major arcana, which is the Devil. Not so positive. And so I feel like this week you might begin to really see, because this is sometimes the unseen that is revealed, you might begin to see like certain truths about your about yourself when it comes to relationships. Because the Page of Pentacles, it does represent kind of studying, it represents knowledge, it represents kind of examining things in detail. So I feel like you might be examining like the way that you're thinking and kind of saying like, you know, maybe this type of thinking is not working for me. Maybe that is a problem. Maybe you kind of figure out as far as things, you know, as far as who you are attracting into your life. I feel like, just like I told the couple, something is revealed here, but I also feel like it's getting past your fears. And I feel like for those of you, I definitely am getting a strong message that some Virgos that are single, you've been single for a long time because it's safer that way. You're only trying to protect yourself. And I feel like for some of you, this will be like crystal clear. Like even if you're not really sure what you're afraid of, I feel like you will know, at least you will know part of the truth of what you're really afraid of. If it's commitment or being hurt, I feel like this will be brought to the surface by spirit. But you also have the 10 of Cups. So they're telling you that you can't cling to those fears because your happiness is at stake here. The 10 of Cups, this is a family card, this is a marriage card, it's associated with children. So if you kind of keep, you know, distancing yourself and thinking of, you know, those fear-based thoughts, those negative relationships, or just kind of, you know, focusing on your career and making money, there is a marriage here that you could be missing out on. This is happiness that you could be missing out on. These are children that could be coming into your life. I even feel like for some of you, like I get the message that you have some children in spirit. They're kind of waiting for you to kind of like wake up and kind of find your way to your life partner, the person that you're meant to have children with. But I feel like it's difficult for you. I feel like you come with, I say this with love, but I feel like for some of you, you come with a lot of baggage. I don't know, this feels like you've been through a lot of difficult relationships. It feels like it's not easy for you to trust. I feel like for some of you, you're just not in a good place when it comes to like relationships. Like you can't trust, you feel like you don't want to open up. You don't want to open that can of worms up again. And I feel like you're going to be examining this week. You know, here's you kind of being fed up or the baggage, but here's spirit right next to you. So I feel like literally there will be a lot of guidance around you to kind of help you see, you know, what baggage you are carrying around with you and how to release this. Let me see if anything else jumps out at me before I end this video. I'm kind of seeing what's going on here, and I don't remember, I've already talked about this because my camera died and I had to edit the video. But like I said, this, you know, these are fears, things that you don't see, things that you're not even aware of, even remotely aware of. Like I said, maybe even things that you don't want to see. Maybe you don't see them because you don't want to see them. And you know, they're telling you here that it's time for you to find that happiness that maybe you have not been able to have in the past. It's time for you to start over. But I kind of get the feeling here, again, I'm just drawn back here to the beginning, you know, that somebody is just kind of like holding on to security. And that security, you know, could be staying single and just kind of focusing on making money in your career because it's been working for you. But I kind of feel like things are like being stirred up, or, you know, that's not really going to work for you anymore. Especially I'm drawing back to this card, you know, a marriage, a family, children are at stake here. So I feel like, you know, it's time for you to come together with a partner. There's definitely spiritual guidance, a lot of spiritual beings around you, things being revealed, and maybe even some baggage being let go this week. You're finally realizing like what has been holding you back when it comes to relationship. Okay, so pretty intense reading for Virgo. You know, there is, you know, like some things that are going to come up that maybe may not be so pleasant. But I also feel like there's going to be a lot of like revelations, a lot of truths, people like really understanding what's going on in relationships or understanding why you're not in relationships, a lot of spiritual insights. I feel like for some of you, even though this is a love reading, you're doing very well financially, but they don't want you to focus on that. All right, Virgo, I will end the reading here. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care. Much love and bless. Bye-bye.